Views and content expressed in the following program are not representative of ONTV or the Board of Directors. ONTV and its Board of Directors do not endorse the views, thoughts, or content of the following program.
Hello and welcome to Political Talk. This is the show where we bring out issues, we bring them out to get you to think. Our opinions are not etched in stone. We learn every day. No idiot boards, no cue cards, just ad-lib conversation. We haven't been on for a while.
Right.
And we want to thank everyone who has watched the show. I've heard comments on the street and in different places, and I appreciate the time that you take to watch us. That is a great honor to us. So the fact that you listen to us, whether you agree with us, and if you do see us on the street and you have a disagreement, by all means, we love to talk it out. But this is what we want people to do, that what we're seeing and what's happening, we seem to let everyone do the thinking for us, and what we want us to do is that we do it.
So let me just jump in here for a
This is my
second.
partner Todd, but I want to say that in fairness, I have jumped to the right.
All right. Well, we're also doing something new tonight. We actually have Facebook Live on here, and I'm watching questions already populate on the right side. What you're seeing from Facebook Live is you're seeing the green wall behind us, but you don't see the green wall when it comes to the show on TV. So we're trying something new, and we're bringing Facebook Live into this. So we do have a monitor set up here so that we can answer your questions as well as we're going through the show for this next 50 minutes. So again, I will try to answer as many of your questions as we can, and at the same time, we're going to be giving you our political views, and the show is called Political Talk again. And this is David Lillis, and I'm Todd Schleiger. So,
one other thing we'd like to do is if we answer your question and you have a better idea, we would like to hear from it. So you can email Todd, go onto his website, and absolutely give it, because there are enormous amounts of intelligent people out there, and you need to be heard.
they're just not our current politicians.
Yeah. So what I'd like to start out with, first of all, we do have a question, and it's from Tony Bunker and
Tony Bunker?
Bunker. What are we going to do about the roads? Well, very good question.
Well,
Go ahead and start.
first off, I mean, we've got current politicians, mainly Democrats and Republicans, and including the Green Party and Libertarian. They're all screaming that we need to raise $4 billion more on top of what we're already paying for our to fix our roads. But if you do your research and your due diligence, you'll find out that's not the truth of the matter. They did raise our gas tax and diesel tax. Our current gas tax, now this includes our federal gas tax portion of it as well. But right now, currently, we are paying 60.8 cents per gallon on gasoline. Now, the diesel is 68.98 cents per gallon. So this has all gone up. I mean, we're talking when I first started talking about this a year ago, we were at 57 cents roughly per gallon. Now we're already up to almost 61 cents, which, I mean, together between both taxes, the gas and diesel, the state of Michigan brings in $12.5 billion already. And we cut that number back just to assume for a mistake in our figures. But they're only utilizing $4 billion of it for our roads.
Okay, now, I would like to throw something in there. Tony, that's a great question, and I want to add some things to it. Now, I've run for office several times previous in this area and in Detroit. And the roads issue has been coming up year after year after year.
We've been fighting with them for over 40 years.
The last time I ran against Brad Jacobson, and I'm going to give a shout out to Brad Jacobson, just the same way that.
Now wait, isn't he our current liquor commissioner?
He's one of them. Yeah, he's making a lot of money. He did not want to discuss it.
Well, they never do because it's talking numbers.
It would catch them. Now, the thing is, the rule of thumb if you do the roads the proper way, and there are professors of road building, I don't know if it's called
Engineers.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say roadology, but engineers are nice.
Hey, we can create that word.
But the thing is, okay, $1 million per mile of road, taking it down to the 16 inches, putting in the layers that are necessary step by step by step.
Right.
Okay, this we know. If we have the $12 billion, as you say, that's a lot of miles that could be done.
Yes, and that's annually.
Now, that should have been started 10 years ago. They have been collecting money over and over and over and over and have done absolutely nothing. Now, is it Republicans? Yeah. But it's also Democrats. Because when each party is in there, they want to take credit for it. They just don't want to do it. Now, we've had some governors. Can I name him?
Sure.
John Engler gave road building. Telegraph Road will be a good example for those who live on Telegraph. More power to you. They're going to rebuild it again.
It was just rebuilt.
Yeah, he gave money to political donors. They did the road, and it was done wrong. They had to go back and tear it up and do it again. I-95 in 2014.
You mean 96 or
I-96. No, I-96. Okay,
Okay.
Pardon me. Governor Snyder pushed to have the road completed well before it was done. So it was done improperly. It'll last 5 years. The nice thing for him is he'll be out of office by then, so you'll blame the current governor.
The problem with that is they still paid the road companies a bonus
Right.
for him
By
rushing
getting
them
it
through
done.
it.
Yeah.
And
So he
that's,
could use it
that's
as a
what's
campaign
wrong with the
incentive.
system. I mean,
Okay.
they don't want to do the job properly. I mean, I've talked to quite a few road builders, and they say that they can build the roads cheaper than what they currently are and better.
Well, they also didn't hold up to the warranties. And
What warranties?
There's warranties on roads. You can get them.
You can get them, but there's none on our interstates.
Exactly. Now, here's the thing. You need somebody in there that's going to do that. Now, I want to throw something else in there with the roads, is that, to simplify it, the tax that you were talking about, how much of that tax actually goes for roads? And let's tell the viewers that there is such a thing as a transportation tax. I'll take the transportation tax, you can take the numbers.
Well, the transportation tax is even separate from the gas tax.
No. The transportation tax at one time was all put together.
At one time
so
it was.
they said, oh, this is for roads, it's in the transportation tax. So what they did, they manipulated the money. For example, Michigan has railroad cars that we pay rent on.
Yes, we
Millions
do.
of dollars a year, and we don't use them. They just sit there.
Well, that's just in case we get these huge people movers going that they planned on, but they're not doing it.
Okay. Now, I want to ask people a question before you take the numbers, because you'll kind of solidify what I'm about to say. This is not, when I campaigned, I asked the question, are potholes Democrat or Republican? And people looked at me like I was wacko, which, was true, but this is besides the point. A pothole is a pothole. Fill the damn thing in. And yet we didn't do that. We had potholes that you could stand in. We had potholes where you could put cones in. These potholes had birthdays.
Yes, they did.
Okay, now, the question is, for the viewers out there, put politics aside. These people are supposed to be fixing your roads. They have the money. They have the ability to do it. They have the time in which to do it, because for the amount of hours that they put in up there, if they'd stop holding their hand out to see how much they can stuff their pockets with and start doing what they're supposed to do. And if you think I'm wrong, next time you go over a pothole, tell me if I'm wrong. Go ahead. Tell us how much.
Well, part of the
is
reason that our potholes are the way they are and the way that they are getting worse all the time, they come out and they put this code fill in them, and they let the cars drive over it.
Yeah.
Which it never really gets packed properly, so it's porous to begin with. So water gets in there, and then the cold comes in, and it just gets frozen, and then the snow plows come through and scrape it right back out of the hole,
Well,
and everything else. But
it absorbs the water and it expands, and that's when they come through. Ice And water is going to expand when it freezes.
Well, this is another thing. When they just build a new road, why is it within a month they're coming out there and cutting sections back out of it? That's what I don't understand. It started out when it was first freshly done. It's a nice smooth road. They come in a month later and they're starting to cut sections out. And then now we got this little game going on down the road. And then where does the pothole form? Right on the seams.
I, for the life of me, cannot understand what is holding you up.
As you know what's holding them up? They don't want to upset their donors. That's what's holding them up, because they don't want. They don't care about what the people want or say.
Wait a minute. What donors would
Oh,
not want?
I can go into a list of donors. I mean, you got
That don't want
auto
the roads
insurance.
fixed?
Huh?
That don't want the roads fixed?
No, they worry more about what their donors want first than they do the public. I'm sorry, I should have clarified that.
Pardon me.
I mean, the whole thing is, the money's there for them to actually fix our roads. But you have auto insurance who donates huge amounts of money to both parties. And when I say both parties, I mean the Democrats and the Republicans. And that's easy to find. You can just track the money.
Yeah.
Health insurance, another big donor. Gretchen knows that. So the whole thing is we have to stop. We have to fight with the lobbyists. We have to get them out of the picture. But we also need somebody who's going to get in that office that's going to do exactly what they say they're going to do.
Exactly.
And, I'm all against adding more gas tax to what we already pay.
Yes.
It's extremely high. I mean, we are actually the fourth highest gas tax state in the nation. I could be wrong on that one. It might be 6, but I mean, for 2 spots, I'm not going to bicker over.
I can't for the life of me find out what is holding this up. And the other thing is, when you use your insurance, now our insurance is through the roof. My car insurance payment exceeds my payment for the car. And I don't want to use it. I have to have it, and yes, I do need it, but I know every once in a while the thought crosses in my mind, hey, I think I'll get into an accident because I'm paying for this insurance. Think about it. 6 months worth of insurance, and if you don't have an accident, they pat you on the head and say, okay, well, very good. Make sure your premium's not late. However, go ahead and use it.
Oh, then
you got deductible, and then guess what they do? They charge
deny.
No, they charge you a fee for using it.
Well, that ain't the worst of it yet. And I don't know how many
worse?
people are out there. Oh, yeah. Auto insurance is getting ready to go up again in June. Another $22 per vehicle. And, I don't know how many people know that. And that's one of our questions on here from Philip A. Hubbard. It says right up there, can you get the insurance companies to agree on lowering the medical liability on car insurance? What he's referring to is the MCCA, which is the Michigan Catastrophic Claims Account, which has been one of the sore spots for the public for years now. I mean, there's over $23 billion in that account now.
Well, the thing you have to understand with that, now I'll go back to your comment about the donors. Because the thing that I've found when I've run is that if you hold out your hand, somebody will put something in it. Now, the sad part for me is that when I ran on the basis of how it's supposed to be done, not how it is done, how it's supposed to be. You represent your district. You come down to your district and you tell the people in that district, whether it be state rep, state senator, congressman, U.S. senator, look, this is what's going on. How do you feel about it? What do you think about it? How does this affect your life? Are you for changing it? Okay, then that state rep takes that vote.
They don't even care how
back up
we feel about it. Sorry.
And they take it back up, and they're supposed to cast it on your behalf. Well, we can clearly see that they haven't. They don't even bother to ask you. It will come up, but what happens is these guys will start making some noise, or the party will start making some noise, and then here comes the money. When the money comes in, they tone it down. Now, we'll get into that part later on, but when they start toning it down, the fact is they don't give a damn about the people they represent. Because this stuff has been going on for years, and people have complained, and I'm pretty sure more people have complained than are sitting up there in the legislature. And they just, oh yeah, you're right. I'll look into that. I'll check on that. Right. We know what you're doing. You really don't care. Well, I think we need somebody up there that can tell the legislature, Democrat and Republican, cut the crap.
I'd like to say it a lot stronger than that.
I would too, but we're on
TV.
TV.
Yes.
Next time I'll use a different word. Okay?
But
It'll be TV ready.
like I said, the whole problem is our representatives, they portray that they really care about what we think, or they come down into our area to say what they want to say. And Tony, you're welcome. We did try to answer that question as best as we could for you, so you are welcome for that, and thank you for joining the show. But the problem is, they really don't care what all they really want is, I mean, here's the biggest issue with the Republicans and the Democrats right now. They basically will not help the people or the public unless they can claim a victory over the other party.
Exactly.
And that's what actually makes me angry. That's what actually pisses me off.
And it happened with Engler when the Democrats were in there.
I mean, right now, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but right now, you've got Callie and Schuette doing their name calling back and forth. Okay, Callie's toting, oh, we created 540,000 jobs. Okay, now here's the thing I get a laugh out of. Engler created, now we got to remember, Engler had 12 years as governor, but he created 800,000 jobs in those 12 years. Okay, then after Engler, we had.
Did Engler have 12 years?
Yeah, John Engler had 12 years. And then after Engler, we had, what's her name? Jennifer Granholm. Okay, now, she's the biggest loser of all this. I mean, according to Wikipedia, she created 640,000 jobs, okay, in her 8 years. But she also lost, supposedly, 632,000 jobs when manufacturing left because of her job-killing tax rates. So, and then Schneider comes in here, and he's so happy that he created 540,000 jobs. James Blanchard, before Engler, okay, he created over 600,000 jobs. So, you know, Schneider's proud, and Callie's proud of this, and they're calling this the comeback or the lost decade. How about the lost 4 decades?
Okay, well, that's true. But I saw a paper that was verified by the legislature that a lot of those jobs came in, built their company on tax incentives.
That's a huge issue right there. People think that's what brings jobs in.
Okay, now let's tell the truth and go ahead and ask your congressman and see how he flinches. And your state rep and state senator, the governor, I don't know if you want to even talk to him. Here's the thing. Companies came in, built a factory, hired people, got the tax incentives, closed the factory down, left the state, and are now suing the state for those tax money. Now, yes, you brought in a job, but for how long, and how are you counting it? Do we have 600 and some thousand jobs now, or is this, we got them, we lost them, we got them, we lost them, so we just cut out half of that equation, number one. Number two, for those people out there.
I love it when you get wound up.
Yeah, well, for those people out there who are working part-time. Now, there's a specific business, and I can't mention them, but I'm going to do a Snyder shout-out to them. For those people that are working part-time, 12 hours a week, that's sad. For those people who are working 20 hours a week, that's sad. How can you have a family? How can you have a house? How can you buy a car? And if you buy a car, I know 20 hours a week ain't going to pay the car insurance. The point is a job, and I got to hit the Trumpster. Here's the thing.
Well, I know how you feel about him.
3.9% jobless rate. Fine. That is a number. But that number doesn't tell the whole story.
No, it doesn't.
There are people out there that are struggling, that are working 2 and 3 jobs. Now, how do you count them?
Well,
and they're still not able to survive.
That's not an. They want us to believe that's an actual number, but it's a falsified number because it's not counting the people who stopped looking for work.
It's a generalization.
Correct.
Now, I've seen and I work with people that bust their hind parts every week, are barely able to make it. Now, I'm going to kind of put myself in this, and I hope I strike a nerve with some of the audience. I live check to check. My family, it's very difficult. I put in between 40 and 60 hours a week, mostly 60, sometimes 70. Salary, of course. And that's fine. The work doesn't bother me. I enjoy what I do. I love what I do. The problem is that you live week to week on basics and you struggle. How are we going to move forward if the 1% is just collecting more and more money? Now, I'll give you an example. Sheldon, what's the rich guy from Adelson?
You lost me on that one.
Well, he's a Republican donor. The tax cut gave him $68 billion, and he gave $30 million to the Republican Party. Maybe it wasn't $68 million.
Well,
but the point is that, he gave $30 million to the Republican Party, yet you don't pay your workers a living wage.
well, there's a lot of that going on too. I mean, and I know I keep banging on our gubernatorial candidates right now. You have what? The majority of them, I believe, all but Schuette agrees with the $15 minimum wage. Okay. The problem is, I don't see an issue with the $15 minimum wage, but what are they doing to help cut the cost of auto insurance here in Michigan, which is extremely high? I mean,
house insurance?
Well, all the insurance industry as a whole,
Yeah.
because I mean that industry as itself, whether you're talking health insurance, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, business insurance, they're all bleeding our families dry.
Well,
That $15 an hour, I mean, what they're going to do with that, I can guarantee you. Look, like I said, in June, your PIP or the Michigan Catastrophic Claims Account is going to add another $22 per vehicle every 6 months. And the problem is, that $15 an hour would be great. That would help out a lot of families. The only problem is the insurance company is going to tack on more, and they're going to eat that you're going to pay $22 more, even at the $15 an hour. They're going to eat that up.
Well, let's just take a look at the car.
McDonald's starts you out at $10, $11 an hour right now.
But actually, some McDonald's have gone up to 15, which is nice. But
Right.
The thing is with economics, and this is just basic. I mean, I'm no economic scholar, but as people make more money, we are a society that spends. We overspend. We spend more than what we have.
Right.
We got $10, we spend $100. But the thing is, every time we spend money, it rolls over and rolls over. So if we go to the store and we buy products that are made here in Michigan, then the store buys more or gets more products in,
Right.
which means that the factories are working. Now, I'm not trying to go off subject, but I heard Republicans, and I'm going to throw Democrats in here too, about all these jobs that went overseas. And the connotation is that it's the workers that did it. And the taxes. Well, it's not that the taxes were high and could have come down. No argument there. But it's just the fact that they just didn't want to pay taxes.
I know. Yeah. Well, everybody, including you, me, we don't like to pay taxes. I understand it.
I argued that point with you. I don't mind paying taxes if the roads are repaired because,
we don't get to see where our money's doing any good. So that's what's upsetting to the people. But they still keep wanting to raise our taxes more and more.
I tell people this: look at the right side of your paycheck and see how much money they took.
Right.
And then when you go to the bank or you try to pay a bill and you can't do it because you don't have enough money and you have to wait 2 more weeks in order to get that, and you look here on the right-hand side, they took this money, and yet it's the same damn potholes that are there.
But the thing is...
And I'm just using potholes as an example.
I
There's
know.
more.
But the whole problem is with this, I mean, we all see the right side of our checks. We know that we're paying our taxes. But the problem is, how do we hold these... representatives accountable?
I'll tell you what I found is I don't believe that a lot of people do look at the right side until it comes to April. And I'll tell you why. Because that money keeps coming out and coming out and coming out. And the outrageous amount of dollars that are spent on things, first of all, Flint. Flint didn't have to happen. But guess what? that right side of your paycheck is going to go to pay that off.
Oh, that's not the worst of it yet.
No, that's just a start.
I mean, we have lawsuits that are going to be coming from Flint, and now to top it off, we also have lawsuits that are going to be coming from MSU.
Yes. And the thing is, these are people that you hold and should hold responsible. That is your money. And when legislators, what's more important is they have to band together to collect more money. That's more important than even going down to their district. And what happens is while they're up there, nothing is said to them if they don't go along. You go along to get along, and if you don't, you're going to sit there for 2 years. That's not how our legislature was supposed to be run. And the Speaker of the House and the Speaker of the Senate know it. They've got this little game that they play. They see a bill they don't want because a donor wouldn't like to see it, so they block it. They put it down.
Right.
Well, these bills come from the people.
Supposed to be coming from the people.
Oh, well, tell me that. Tell me about the one back in 2014. One show I'm going to bring it in as soon as I find it. When they took a whole week to vote on ice cream.
Ice cream week.
Yeah.
For some reason, I knew you were going to bring that in.
Yeah, that's one of my pet peeves.
That's one of the taxpayers should be so angry with because of the fact that they actually voted on a bill to have ice cream week in Lansing.
Hell, what they could have done if they
that was all at the taxpayers'
if
expense.
If they wanted to make that bill more palatable, they should have given us a coupon to Baskin-Robbins. I mean, that's the least they could do.
I
mean, for all the
that'd
money,
make us smile for 5 minutes. Come
for
on.
all the money they collected, yeah, that's.
I mean, I brought this issue up before. I mean, I've actually asked, matter of fact, I'm going to say his name, Jim Marlew, our state senator,
You mean
here in our district.
You don't mean the one that's moving to Florida because he doesn't want to pay the pension tax.
Yeah, the
You're
retirement
not talking
tax.
about him.
Yeah.
The one who voted for it? The one who said, oh, this is a good thing.
That was a question I had somebody else say, how come the majority of our governors, once they are done, they move out of the state?
Oh, you mean like Engler? When, as soon as he was out of office, within a few days, he was living in Virginia.
Yeah.
He went into all these boards and then got fired from them.
Yeah, now he's back running MSU.
Jennifer Grant, yeah, he's doing them a favor. Jennifer Granholm is in
wait
California.
Wait a second. This is some of the stuff that people need to
I'm
know.
a Michigan man. Which way out of the state? Yeah,
well,
please.
guess who's got the contract for MSU's lawsuits?
Who?
The law firm.
Who?
James Blanchard. His law firm is going to handle the lawsuits for MSU. And John Engler, interim president right now. What kind of games are they playing? I mean, this is the stuff
that's okay. We can get Jennifer Granholm on one side and John Engler on the other, and they can give commentary.
Yeah. I have another idea once we line them up, but I can't say that. So, the whole facts are.
My point to the whole thing that I'm saying is that people, you work hard for your money.
We all do. Well, not all of us.
Over the last 10 years, I've heard things that would make you scream. I've seen politicians underhandedly do things. And even going back 8 years ago, it was still kind of kept quiet. But now these people are so bold, they just don't even care. Tell me this, Mr. Schuette and the Republican legislature. Now I'm going to pick on the Republicans, okay? I'll explain my view on the Republicans later. But right now I want to. You have allocated $7.5 million of taxpayer money to Governor Snyder so that when Mr. Schuette puts on his show that he's going to have law and order in this state and he's going to go after the people, and Mr. Calley is going to say, oh, no, I'm the one that did that. Well, the truth of the matter is both of you knew about it. Both of you saw what happened, and both of you also said, no, it didn't happen. They lied. They doctored it. To the person in Snyder's office who kicked the people of Flint out of that office saying he doesn't want to see you, no. This is what's wrong. These people have to understand, and when I call them, they know because they usually hang up on me.
I thought you were talking about Mike Bishop for a minute.
Oh, I will. They work for us. Ladies and gentlemen, they work for us. And if they have something to say about it, tell them on the right side of my paycheck, this much money came out, and I believe it's in your paycheck. You work for me. You need to talk to me. You need to come down to your district. There's people that don't even go in their district. I ran against somebody years ago who didn't live in his district and yet collected a paycheck and, to top it off, sold the vote of our district to whoever would buy it.
That's why I've said this. We've done this show. This is, I think, they told us today this is our 22nd episode.
Yeah, nobody shot us yet.
Well, don't give them no ideas yet. But the whole thing is, we've said this over and over, and it's explicitly come from my mouth, the fact that we have to start voting other than Democrats and Republicans. Because the major parties, I mean, I get a laugh out of this. To me, personally, this is like a three-ring circus. We have a bunch of clowns running for office, and we have two criminals running for office. And I'm not bashful to say it. I mean, I consider Brian Calley and Bill Schuette criminals for what they allowed to happen to Flint and their attitude towards it. I mean, at the least, there's misconduct of office and gross negligence. Okay, now with Schuette, I can blame a little bit on MSU as well for the simple fact that he had hundreds of complaints coming to him over the last couple of years that he just blew off.
And that's amazed me. For the amount of people and the amount of years it went on, what the hell's going on? I mean, if it went on for a few months or
now wait, what was the president's name, the lady's name that ran MSU before? They asked her to resign, or she resigned on her own. The only thing is, what bothers me about that, she was paid almost $800,000 a year
and has a
to
house.
run MSU.
Yeah,
that's outrageous.
Well,
then they
minute,
wonder why our tuitions are
they
so
gave her
high.
a house.
Yeah, the president always has a house.
Oh no!
Oh, they gave her one as well.
She still has one.
Right.
She's still there.
Well, and then, I mean, hey, I have to pick on U of M too. U of M is my school. I love it. I mean, I didn't personally go there, but the facts are I'm a Wolverine fan because of Michigan. I'm more than Sparty. But the whole fact is, the president of the U of M made $778,000, and then they wonder why our tuitions are so dang high.
Well, he should have been football coach.
Well, wait. Do you know what his salary is stated as? $200,000 a year. Even though we all know in the state of Michigan that he accepted the contract for $35 million, if I remember that right. So, I mean, the benefits or the payments come from the.
Okay,
we can leave that alone.
No.
I never had you speechless before.
I don't even know how to say that one.
But back to my clown theory.
Okay.
Okay. I already.
Can I hit a Democrat?
Huh?
Can I hit a Democrat?
Can you hit a Democrat?
Yeah, right now I'm going to hit a Democrat. Gretchen Whitmer.
Okay.
Let's see. Gretchen
One of
Whitmer.
the clowns.
What do I know about you? Well, you've asked me for money 3 times.
Yeah, she's asked you what, for $6,800 each time?
Oh, up to $6,800.
Well, yeah, but that was where she started. She figures if you ask.
She started at 25, 50, and then she went all the way up. I mean, she was going to hit the gambit.
Well, I know they tell the politicians always ask for the max because then the person, no, I can't afford that. Well, how about 4,000? You know, work your way down.
Okay, so as I said, I called her office and I said, can I speak to Gretchen Whitmer? No, she's not here. Well, could I leave a message for her to call me? And they said no. No, she's very busy. She's working on the campaign. Okay. All right. Well, could I leave a message with her? Yeah, you could leave a message. I said, okay, tell her that the $6,800 that I was going to give to her campaign will now stay in my pocket. All I know about you is you want money from me. I do know you're a Democrat. I know you're a female. You were a state rep. Let's see. What else do I know? I couldn't pick you out of a lineup. And yet, you have the nerve to ask me for $6,800 so that you can get a position and wouldn't give me the time of day. And that's all of you. I ran I'm going to.
Let me cut you off for a second.
Okay.
All right. The majority, we have Gretchen Whitmer, career politician, basically. She's been in there, she was, 14 years. You got Brian Calley, career politician.
I don't know what the hell Brian Kelly ever did.
I think he was an attorney at one time.
Well, I know he kept waving.
And Bill Schuette, he's been in office, he's been in office for 34 years.
He's run for governor before. He's run for this, that, and the other thing.
They're all bringing up our issues in Michigan. I'm not just portraying to Flint. They're all bringing up our issues.
How did they find out about the roads?
They went to work. But anyway, well,
You mean they
supposedly
drove
went
on
to work. Yeah. But either way, now you made me lose my train of thought. But anyways, no, here's what I'm getting at. They've been in office all this time. Okay? And, I can even throw Pat Kobeck in there. He's been in office 8 years. But why now are they fighting to say that they're going to do all these things to help the people of Michigan? Why haven't they even tackled it before? Gretchen said she did. She had her name on a bill. Okay? But it didn't get passed because the Democrats couldn't claim a victory over the Republicans. So it didn't get passed.
That crap's got to stop.
It has to. This is why I've said over, and I'm going to say it again. I mean, I have voted Democratic and I have voted Republican. From here on out, I'm voting independent. The hell with the rest of them. And
okay. Now here's
unless one comes across that really gets my attention that I could actually halfway believe.
Here's where
but it sure heck ain't going to be a career politician.
I have to differ. I'm a Democrat because of what they're supposed to be, rich and poor and everyone in between. In theory and in ideology and...
Wait, let me ask you this question. Are you voting Democrat this election?
Don't know. I vote for the best person.
There you go. That's what I wanted to hear.
No, I vote for the best person. I'm not going to put a jackass in there.
Well, we already got one of those in office.
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not putting another one in. I'll
no, I mean here and in...
No, the thing is that, and the same with the Republican Party. Now I'm going to give my take on the Republican Party. The Democrats, right now, you have a few good candidates that seem to have a goal, but not very many. You have people that just want to be in politics because the money is good and they like, everyone chasing after them, and I know they don't like to be touched or anything, But the Republicans bother me. Because with Trumpster and with Snyder, you have 4 factions of the Republican Party that I see. The Republican Communist, these ones that find Putin and the communist regime and Erdogan and the one in the Philippines and Sisi, you promote these people who look at people like us. If we were over there, who knows? I mean, we sure as hell wouldn't be sitting here doing what we're doing.
Oh, that's for sure.
Okay. And yet you say the Democrats and other parties and the press and everything, they're the enemy. They're the enemy. These are the same people that are your next door neighbors, that you work with, that you go to the ball game with. They are not the enemy. And because one person wants to protect his ass and he says, they're the enemy, look what they're doing to me. Now, wait a minute. So then you have the Republican capitalist. These are the ones where the 1% are now basking in money, as is Trump, as is Snyder. Snyder sold his company to a Chinese firm. Hey, American jobs, buy American. Yo, 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 sell my company to Japan.
How long do you think Schneider's going to stay in Michigan after he's done being governor?
He's
going to move out of Ann Arbor.
The capitalists take care of themselves.
Yeah, they don't care about us.
And I'm very sorry, but if you guys are making too much money out there, hey, more power to you.
If you're making too much money, I have a place you can donate.
Yeah. Then you have the Republican I don't even know what to call them. The ones that hit reporters, the ones that talk down to people, that criticize them, that call them names. Okay? Then you have real Republicans. And those are the ones that are the foundation of the party. Those are the ones that I will vote for. McCain, John McCain, I will vote for him Why? I don't always agree with what he says, but the man listens, number one. He tries to look at the whole picture. Now, there's some things that I'm dead set against him. However, he has a moral compass. He knows the difference between right and wrong.
Does he?
We're a Republican, and I know a lot of others. Are you the enemy? Hell no.
I'm not a Republican.
So why
but
is
no.
this person saying that? Why does he get up and get people cheering and get them and breeds hate? That's unnecessary.
Now, wait.
This state will never work unless we work as a unit.
But here's the other thing too, and another issue that's going on here in Michigan is with media. Okay, you can go on there to the Frank Beckman show on WJR.
Yeah.
He made a comment that he's interviewed all the candidates. No, he hasn't.
No, you haven't.
He interviewed the Democrats and Republicans. I know for a fact there's a libertarian out there. There's a U.S. taxpayer candidate out there. There's a independent candidate out there. There's, did I forget one? Green Party out there. I haven't heard any interviews from him. Same thing with Nolan Finley. Or is it Finley Nolan?
Yeah,
one
he's conservative, yes.
You know, and
There's
then
nothing wrong with being conservative.
No, there's nothing wrong with progressives
some
and
things
conservatives. It all depends on what their platform is, and how are they going to portray it towards the people, and how are they going to bring it forward to help the people of Michigan. That's the main concern to me. But what I'm getting a laugh out of is you got a lot of these media that are completely ignoring
and biased
against the minor parties and the independents. They're like, you know, and I've heard this many times before, the independents are stealing the votes from the Democrats, or they're stealing the votes from the Republicans. I don't think it's stealing the votes. How about giving these actual politicians the actual same opportunity they're doing to the Democrats and Republicans, so that the people out there can actually get educated on who the candidates really are?
I faulted the Democrats for something that I heard when I first ran. And it was in Detroit. It was during the Coleman Young era. We were just going into the Dennis Archer area, which Dennis Archer was one of those politicians, and whether he was Democrat or Republican, I'd have voted for him because he was a man that had class, a man that had intelligence, a man that knew, and as simple as this sounds, knew right from wrong. Now, for me, the mantra then, and my opponent believed in this, keep them stupid, keep them in control.
They still believe that? They still do that today?
Believe it or not, I heard a Republican in this city tell me basically the same thing. These people will do as we tell them. We own them.
I know who that was.
Yeah, I know you do.
And
I'm not going to mention the name, although I probably have in past shows, so look back at the past shows and see if you can figure it out. But the thing is, how could you have the gall to say that? But for independent voters, and I may believe in the Democratic Party, but I'm an independent voter.
Right.
I will look at the candidate. If the Republican candidate is more upright, he's getting my vote. I will vote for the best candidate because if he does the best job, I benefit.
Exactly.
I'm not going to vote for someone because that's my man, and he listens to me, and he says, yeah, you right. I'm going to say what you said. I believe that. Now vote for me, and give me some money.
That's the problem with it, right?
Yeah, give me some money.
You know, I get a laugh out of it because, you know, one of the biggest things is people say, well, and I'll go back to the major two parties again. Well, they really raised a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's all corporate money. They're being bought and paid for.
But I'm going to ask, now we know that, but I'm going to ask something. That's a lot of damn money. Whether it's gubernatorial, I mean, think about this. Ladies and gentlemen, think about this. Listen to what the entire campaign from the one coming up, from governor all the way down, and the presidential. Listen to what money they get and what they spent. Now, this money came out of somebody's pocket. Anyone that can give $30 million for someone to stand up and say, I'm the only one that can save this country, or I'll save the world, whatever they say. The thing is, $30 million bought nothing. Okay, yeah, they were on TV. So are we, and ain't nobody giving us $30 million. Hell, 30 cents.
Again, I do accept checks if you're offering.
No, I don't want the money.
No, we don't.
Listen, I stand for what I believe in. If I'm wrong, I've got enough guts. But what I've seen now is an absolute disgrace. I see money flowing. I see people being bought. I sit at home and my neck hurts every night from doing this. Every time I think I've seen everything. I cannot believe. I have no idea what's coming next. So, let's see. Do we have a question there?
Yeah, how about Nestle's taking the water from Michael Beggs?
Okay. All right. Here's something that we will, I'm going to say we will fight for. And this is something that I have fought for 16 years. Michigan has a very small percentage of the fresh water in the world.
20%.
Okay, that's a small amount considering that there's other reservoirs out there.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, every politician, and Mike Bishop is one of them, who will sell us out, as will some of these others, they want to build a pipeline from Lake Michigan to Arkansas, Alabama, Texas, now New Mexico, and Arizona. They want to pipe the water from there. They don't want to live in Michigan, but they want to take the water. And they have the votes that they can get it done. They have the people who have the money that can buy off these people. I say that is one thing that better never even be talked about. Those Great Lakes belong here. If they want to enjoy them, come on back. But you left the state of Michigan, you said, oh, that's the Rust Belt, but yet now you have the gall to come back and say, oh, we want the water. No, we will fight that tooth and nail.
Yes, we will. You got away from Nestle. All right, Nestle just got approved to take out, I believe it's 400 million gallons per day more. And here's the problem with it. We have farmers who are complaining now that because they're taking it out of groundwater.
Yeah.
Okay, now they're starting to drain wells. And this is one of the proponents that they're not supposed to be doing. They're not supposed to be draining other people's wells. Now, some of them are being affected by it, but the state still allowed them to do it. Now, the biggest issue I have with all this, not just to the fact that they're taking the water the way they are, okay, but now, come to find out, they're paying pennies per gallon.
Yeah, they're paying pennies per gallon because, and there was other issues with.
Well, not only that, but yet the state decides to take the water away from Flint.
Yeah, but let's look at that. There's some people up there in Lansing that are just licking their chops. Yeah, it's pennies per the gallon. So I give this guy 100,000. So I buy him something under the table. So they sell us out. Well, look, I was representing them. I did my job. I said, no, you shouldn't do that. Shame on you. I won't vote for it. Oh, well, the party told me to. And yet you fill your pockets. You sold us out. You would sell out Michigan, so you get your 16 pieces of gold. What did you just get?
Yeah, 16
I'm gonna
pieces
bring some
of
religion
silver.
in here. Yeah, you sold us out, and you don't have the guts to say so. You don't even write it down because the stuff is cash. It's been taken up in bags and boxes. Yeah, you guys are doing it. We know that. Yeah. Nestle isn't stupid. They'll come in here with a couple of boxes of money. Here, listen, we need your vote. How about the woman who took the what'd she get, $5,000 to change her vote?
Yeah.
On Synergy?
Yep.
In McDonald's.
Here's the main issue, though. I mean, if we can get these lobbyists out of our politics, we won't have these issues. No. If we get people to do their due diligence, we won't have these issues. I mean, if you're really, and I don't want to make this sound like I'm picking on anybody or any party. Well, I am picking on the parties. I mean, I can't stand the Republicans and the Democratic parties. I'm sorry.
No, I'd say I'll disagree with that because there's some good people in there.
I
There's
didn't
some very
say
good
the
people.
people. I said the parties.
No, there's some good. The party itself, take the people out of it, and the parties are great, both of them.
Well, if you take the
Put the
people
people
out of
in.
it, the party's nothing.
Yeah, well, the government is great until you deal with the people that are running it. Okay, but ladies and gentlemen, we're getting towards the end of the show.
Oh, yeah, we only got a
gotta
couple
wrap
more
it up,
minutes.
and because I can go nonstop. The thing is, we've sat here and we've criticized and we've laughed. But this isn't funny. This is serious. This is our state, and I love Michigan. This is our state being sold out by people who just don't care. They want to get what they can when they can. Mitch McConnell made the lofty statement during the tax vote. If we don't pass this bill, our donors are not going to take care of us.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Okay, that right there should tell you. And he's not the only one. The Democrats are just as bad. You sell us out every day. You won't even give us the time of day. Probably in another show I'll rip some more. But the fact is, this is frustrating. We see this every day. They lie to our face, whether it be state or federal or local. It doesn't matter. They lie to our face. They can't even understand. You're on TV when you say this stuff. And then you look back on it. I never said that. That's insulting. We're smarter than that. But if they're worried about their donors, when are they going to worry about their voters? Or do they even know who they are?
They don't know who we are. And
When I'm sorry.
And-
Please, what we said may have pissed you off, and I understand that. And we don't mean to do that, but we do want you think about this. This is your life. This is your kid's life. This state was once one of the top states. Detroit was one of the biggest cities at one time, and we have gone slowly down. Well, if we keep going down like this, where will we be 20 years from now? What will our kids have to appreciate here? Please, think about it. Think about it for yourself. I love this state. There's no other place in the world I want to live, but I want to fight for this state. And stuff like this, I'm sorry. There's good people up there. Keep going. The ones that aren't, they got to go. Close it up for us.
And on that thought right there, the main idea is to get you to independently think. You know, we don't want to sway your votes. We don't want to sway the way you think, but we want you to think independently. We bring a lot of discussion to this show. And, you know, like I've said to Dave, I've said it to you over and over. I mean, I vote on the Democratic side and I vote on the Republican side. It depends on what that candidate is going to do for my family and my community. But this election that we have coming up here in November, I honestly urge you to look at the independents. Some of the minor parties, they are good people. We have some clowns in this three-ring circus running for the gubernatorial, and we need to pay attention to what they're doing. Follow the money, but think independently.
Also, if the Democrats and Republicans tell you all of what they're going to do,
Why haven't they done it so far?
ask them, where were you 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago? Tell them that the pothole in front of your house is now 10 years old and see what they have to say. Okay, well, my blood is boiling.
It always is at the end of the
But
show.
I thank you for tuning in. Let's see, if you didn't learn anything, you were definitely entertained, I hope.
To say the
yeah.
least,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
hope we entertained you, and we'd like to thank you for
Yeah, your
joining
time
us.
is very valuable to us, and thank you. We appreciate it.
And have a good evening.
Yeah.
Views and content expressed in the previous program are not representative of ONTV or the Board of Directors. ONTV and its Board of Directors do not endorse the views, thoughts, or content of the previous program.